We scared him.
I didn't know we were doing the show.
I snuck up on you.
Wait a minute. Forget your joke. We got to get the title in here.
ATTIC. I said it every time I go to the women's locker room. And here's another exciting episode of Van Allen's Attic with your illustrious host, Keith Van Allen.
Who? And you all know me.
Where did I go?
You all know me. My name is...
Years ago, Lenny D on the organ.
Television on the side of the road, I say, oh, that's so sad. I always think to myself, all the joy that came out of that television and no one's watching it anymore.
It's so sad, so sad.
Yeah.
We
used to get them
We
fixed.
live in a sad society. Everything is depressing, but it goes a mile a minute. And I'm so without... I can't think of anything to say, so I'm playing it depressed this week.
I know what you're saying because everything is disposable. It used to be you bought a TV, you bought a microwave, you bought a VCR, and when it broke, you went to get it fixed. Now you just throw it out the window.
That's why we try to preserve the non-disposable culture here at Van Allen's Attic. And,
yes.
And he's... oh, get out of here.
What's the name of that rabbit? Bugs?
He's got a few bugs
Peter
on him.
Cottontail?
He's just the rabbit. I got him for my dog.
Yeah.
I did a painting of my dog.
Oh.
And he
had a dog.
And the rabbit's in the painting. Okay. Oh, I had Blue.
I've
had a number of dogs, but the last dog...
the big blue dog.
He was like a wolf, a beautiful dog, a Malamute. And I painted... I'll show it on the show one time. Where he was sitting on the couch, and his food dish was there, and he's sitting there acting goofy, and I painted a picture of that.
Oh, that's
but the rabbit was on the dish, and I used to do a thing with the rabbit. He'd be sitting there on that couch, and he had some of his food left over,
Yes.
and the kibble, and I'd have that rabbit come up and sneak up and start chewing away at the kibble, and I'd mix the kibble with my finger, make it sound like he's eating. And Blue couldn't stand that. He said, "Oh, you'd get down there and push that rabbit out of the way."
Fooled by the noise.
Yeah. Oh, well, you can play. Animals are the best audience in the world because you can do like puppets. They don't care if your hand's attached to it, as long as it moves right. As long as you make it move right, that's what they react to. Like a dove. Out in the driveway, you can get a dove. You can have a conversation with a dove or a pigeon because if you learn their language, anything with any animal, if you, they don't care how big and bulbous you are as long as you move like they do.
Yeah.
And doves and pigeons will go.
Yeah.
and I do it back to them, and I don't know if I'm cussing them out or not, because they'll sit there and bob with me for 5 minutes, and then suddenly I'll say something wrong, and I'll go, and they go, they take off.
They take off.
I offended them.
Yes. Now, this is a Malamute.
A Malamute is a dog. It's like a husky.
It's like an Alaskan dog.
Yeah, only it looks a lot like a wolf, and he was like a wolf, but he was
Dan McGrew was eating at the Malamute Cafe.
Yeah, Sam McGee was from Tennessee, where the cotton blooms and boils, while he left his home in the South to roam round the pole. God only knows.
Yes.
And I cremated Sam McGee. Yeah. I always wanted to do a
shooting of Dan McGrew.
Yeah, and the cremation of Sam McGee. Robert W. Service, one of the great poets. Great American poets. And I always wanted to make an animation to the cremation of Sam McGee.
They haven't done it yet? Hey, anyone who's thinking of doing that, forget what we're talking about. We have dibs on it.
They're not doing any much animation. Well,
it's your poems.
That pays anything.
We were talking recently, I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but about Prokofiev's Peter and the Wolf, how they made this wonderful Disney cartoon when I was a kid. It was one of the scariest things I ever saw, because while you love the music, Peter and the Wolf, you don't realize the reality of a wolf almost like eating a child. But they illustrate that in this Disney cartoon.
Yeah, it was
1960s, I guess.
Actually, no, it was in the 40s.
In the 40s, okay.
And Prokofiev actually came. He was on tour from the Soviet Union, and he had written Peter and the Wolf with the idea that Disney might someday animate it. It was a dream of his. And then later, and he came to Disney and played it on this old beat-up piano they had. And later, on one of the Disney shows, Disney reenacted that. They got an actor, a bald-headed guy with the glasses, and he said, one day this strange little Russian man came into the studio and he had some music for me. Trying to talk Kansas like Walt. Yeah. Kind of talk like that. Yeah. I had an uncle that talked like Walt Disney, and he was from Kansas. Yeah. My uncle, Big Near, we called him, Harold Near Sr. Eileen, I'm coming in the house. Yeah, he had the broad A, you know. Yeah. So, and he was hard of hearing, so he was always going, how's that? How's that? He was like my surrogate grandfather. Yeah. He was a neat guy. He was a great mechanic. Yeah. And he headed up the motor pool at Bellwood, the Defense General Supply Center. Oh, okay. And he's a great, fun, gentle guy with kind of talk kind of loud, but he'd show you stuff out in his garage. But one time he must have been a little bit hard on the job to work for, but he was a good guy. Yeah. And as was Walt Disney, because one of the people that worked for him came to my aunt, his wife, one time, and he said, Ms. Near, your husband's a son of a bitch, but he's a good son of a bitch.
He's our son of a bitch.
Our son of a bitch. And Walt was kind of like that. Yeah. You know, he was riding the herd and making sure they got those cartoons right.
I heard that Walt was one of those guys that if you, like a lot of people who work, we tend to be kind of lazy. And then, but if they heard that Walt was coming to visit them, they'd all start looking to. This is what I want. The point I wanted to make. He had this terrible smoker's hack, which eventually killed him.
It got worse and worse, but he actually did that on purpose to warn the guys that he was coming.
They'd hear him in the hallway.
So they could get everything straight.
And they actually only kind of hint at it one time in that movie where Tom Hanks plays Walt Disney, Saving Mr. Banks, I think it's called. Yeah. And about the creation of Mary Poppins,
Which wasn't a bad movie. I was surprised.
Yeah.
But, towards the end there, Mark Davis, one of the 9 old men, one of the great animators, caught a glimpse of him. Walt would keep up a facade and say, hey, how's it going? Everything's fine. Hey, all right. Slap you on the back. But when he wasn't looking, Mark looked down the hall and he saw how bad off he was because Walt just suddenly slumped, and he like 20. He looked 20 years older, and he was like just going down the hall.
Yeah. From lung cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah, he
didn't want to go to doctors, but he finally did.
Smoked at least 2 packs a day of like
Chesterfield.
Chesterfield.
Yeah. He said, "Yeah, well, a guy's got to have some vices." And,
when was the last time anyone smoked a Chesterfield?
But the thing about it, I don't know why we got on Walt Disney. Yeah, well, from here, it's from our county, Chesterfield, the old tobacco used to be. He wouldn't have done, believe it or not.
Yeah,
I am certain.
Yeah,
he would not have accomplished all the stuff he did if he hadn't smoked.
Yeah,
because they kept him hopped up.
Yeah,
and
that's why people smoked in those days. They were all smoking. You watch the old TV show, old movies.
And not only that, he admitted himself, because I'm always, whenever I get a piece of information about him or Hitchcock or a few other people, I soak it up. And Walt said one time when he came back from the war, he could suddenly concentrate better.
Mm-hmm.
And really something, it did something good for him. It made him concentrate on his work and get things done. And he also said his wife or somebody said he took up smoking.
He took up smoking.
He took up smoking in the World War I.
Yes.
So that's
World War
what
I,
he was a big ADD kind of dyslexic.
Yeah, I guess he would be. Yeah.
You can't be that talented without being dyslexic and ADD and all that, but you need something to focus. And they used to call it self-medicating.
Yeah.
I got into studying ADD when I realized I had it. Yeah. But and I didn't get into smoking. I worked out more and ate better. Working out.
Better off.
Yeah, but back then, that's what they would do, and they would just do it. They don't know why they did it. They just got into the habit. It worked for them, and it was cool. Nobody criticized you for smoking.
No, everyone was smoking. When I was a kid. No. Everywhere you went. In fact, you could be.
And Rod Serling did the same thing.
You could be in a place where where no one is smoking. Say like a nursery with children, and then if one person feels like puffing away in front of all the kids, they did it.
Yeah.
And I
used to sneak into the bathroom at junior high.
Yeah.
And the assistant, it was always the assistant principal that went around. Okay, is anybody smoking in there?
Yeah.
That was his job.
Yeah.
He was this kind of mean-looking guy. He looked like Oliver Reed. The regular principal was a real gentle, educated man, and he looked like John Williams. Hello, but the assistant principal. Yeah, the assistant principal. No, the actor.
Oh, John Williams, the guy, the butler from Family Affairs.
Yeah.
And all the Hitchcock films. Yeah.
But the assistant principal in junior high was always kind of a near simian-looking guy with a big brow ridge, and he looked like Oliver Reed, and he'd go around checking in bathrooms. There ain't anybody smoking in there.
Yeah,
It seems like that was all his. That was his job description.
We had vice principals in my school, and they were like, one up from like prison guards. They were. Yeah. You're right.
Good cop, bad cop.
Well, the principal was. He actually. It almost like he told the vice principal, "You're a jerk. I hired you to be a jerk.
Yeah.
Don't try to be charming like me, because that's my job. You be a jerk and make everyone hate you."
The main principal gets on the intercom in the morning and says, "It looks like there may be inclement weather today. We may be going home early." Yes.
It's like Ronald Colman.
Yes. I have inclement weather. It is.
Well, the other guy is like Martin McLean or something. But he's more like...
I forgot who Bart McLean is.
Always the villain in Bogart films.
Oh, right. I thought Bogey was the villain.
Speaking of Bogey, smoking killed Bogey, died of throat cancer. And every time I see a movie with Bogey lighting up Sammy Davis, Nat King Cole, or Edward R. Murrow, and they're always popping away in their movies or TV shows, I always say to myself, there he is committing suicide, because that's why the best killed them all. Yeah.
But look what they accomplished. I mean, who's to
Up
say?
until they were 55 years old.
Well, who's to say? I mean, look what Walt Disney accomplished in 64 years. Yeah. How many people accomplish 10, less than that.
Well, I'm 46 years old, so
You are?
so I got another 8 or 9 years. I better take up smoking. And I really gotta get with the program. I haven't reached my potential yet.
Yeah.
Well, I think being on this show with you is a step in the right direction. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting me.
Step in the right direction. Anyway, I was trying to. Now I can't remember the song. It's Labor Day, more or less, and
the Labor Day weekend. A lot of these people watching it on Labor Day. So
grab your prop.
Oh,
and we're gonna do a song about labor. And get ready now.
What is this? It's an axe. It's a funny looking.
Working,
it's a historic looking. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know what we're doing.
Working in the coal mine, working in the downtown, working in the coal mine. Whoops, I'm gonna slip down. Well, I am so tired. Working in the coal.
The cool thing.
Yeah, well, I was trying to. We gotta form the
communist symbol.
The communist symbol. Workers of the world unite. Hold it up to the camera, and then
Bernie Sanders for president.
Hold it up.
Gus Hall for president. You can play with both hands, and I'll hold them. I'll just do that.
I better quit. They're gonna sign me up for a member. For a member, I'm getting into it.
Neither one of us are wearing red.
I know it. But I'm into Russian stuff, especially the music. You know, Mussorgsky, Rimsky-Korsakov, and all
I actually
those
know
guys.
the name of that music. It's called Meadowlands.
Yeah,
and it's actually, I think, from the Russian Revolution. Or no, it's from like during Peter the Great or something. Like not.
Well, it was
not during the.
It was probably a folk song, and they adopted it. Lenin might have liked it, or
there's also Moscow Nights. Oh, those Moscow Nights.
No, Midnight in Moscow.
There's Midnight.
That was a hit song
same by Burt Kempfert. Yeah, but it's the same music.
How's that go?
Yeah,
that's a great song.
Because I remember when Gorbachev came to visit Reagan, the orchestra, the Boston Pops or something, played it for him, and Arthur Fiedler.
What is that? Oh, anyway,
those Moscow Nights. Oh,
once there was a.
Yeah.
I lived in a tavern.
Oh, that's a good song.
No,
that's an American song.
But
those were the days.
Those were the days, my friend. Wasn't she an English actor, English singer?
Well, it's a. I think it's an American song. David Raxon wrote it, but it's a good song.
Bang.
It be the life we choose, we fight and never lose.
Because we were young and sure to have our way. We wanted to have our way, you see, because we were the revolutionary people.
Yes.
Pipples. We were the pipples.
It was very important to note that Russian history.
That's the world. That's the symbol of the World's Fair from 1939.
The world of tomorrow. The Trilon and the Perisphere, if I can get it even closer.
I kept looking at that thing.
Yeah.
And that was that 1939?
39, yeah. And it's actually from 1939. I bought it. I collect. Okay, now you know my secret. I collect a lot of.
I kept saying that. Wait a minute.
I collect a lot of World's Fair stuff, and I wear a lot of the badges and stuff.
I got a World's Fair.
But this is 1939, 1940, before I was born. But believe it or not, I actually went to the one in New York in the 1960s. And it was the greatest thing I ever did as a kid.
Yeah, I went to that
thing. You were there. Well, anyone who was our age and went to the 1965 World's Fair, it was truly amazing. and it was a continuation of the one in 1939, 1940. And I just saw a recent documentary about it, and it was truly amazing, but it never made a profit because it was mired in red tape and corruption and everything. But it did near the end, like the last few months of the last year.
Well,
there was a big.
They still got that globe. They still got that globe.
They still have it, yes.
Yeah.
But what's here is the Trilon and the Perisphere. And that was torn down. And they should have kept that up. Now they still have the globe there. The globe now anyone who's a big fan of movies knows that that's where the aliens came down in Men in Black, where they had the showdown with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. And it's so exciting to see that because that was an image from my youth. That was so exciting.
That thing?
No, this was from 1939.
You mean the 1965
one? Yeah.
Well, this is a symbol of the 1913 opium den convention. Opium smokers. What were they called? Opium.
That would be in where was that?
The guys in the opium dens. They had a
San
name.
Francisco place.
I don't know, but this is an opium pipe.
It would be in like Chinatown areas.
Chinatown. This is an actual opium pipe.
Yeah.
And my uncle got it in World War II. He got it in the South Pacific.
There you go.
But it's really cool.
Well, it was a place to go where you just wanted to chill out. Yeah.
And the hookah smoking caterpillar will tell you where to go. Go ask Alice when she's 9 feet tall and all messed up, yes. And the Republicans have their convention, and they'll tell you what to say, and we'll be having an election if we survive to that day. Go ask Alice when she appears on Kevin's show.
I know.
This is a great thing, yeah.
Yeah,
my very creative Uncle Kenny, he brought that back, and I think he gave it to my dad. So,
you know that there is a the only thing I really know, and I'm not even sure I even know this. I saw a movie with Robert De Niro called Once Upon a Time in America, and what happens is, you probably remember that film, James Woods is in it, and what happens is, whenever he wants to chill out, he goes to the opium den. I think it's in...
Isn't that Western by Sergei
Leone made that film, but it was an American gangster movie.
With the fan that goes...
So you're thinking of Once Upon a Time in the West with Henry
Fonda.
West,
yeah.
No, same direction.
Jack Elan's sitting there.
Oh, wasn't that good?
Oh,
yeah, that's probably the best one of them all.
Yeah,
but the one with Robert De Niro is pretty good too, and that was his last film.
Once Upon a Time in America. I know of it.
Yeah,
maybe
I've made in the 80s.
I'm going to post
it's a 4-hour version.
I'm going to look it up.
All 4 hours you can watch. But anyway, he always chills out in this opium den. It sounds like a kind of a cool place to go where you're anonymous. You just check into this place. You just lay down and just give you this opium just to chill out. And
Sherlock Holmes used to hang out in them all the time, and he would get a lot of information about the criminals of London, and I think he took a bit himself. One time Watson went in there, and there was this old guy always zonked out and with stuff on him, and turned out to be Holmes. Go on, Watson. The game is afoot.
Do you know that
they must have been playing Monopoly because they had a foot in Monopoly?
Yeah, there is actually a book, and then became a movie, the 7% Solution.
Yeah,
which is a fictional. No, Sherlock Holmes is fictional, but it was not a Conan Doyle version, but it was him getting Sigmund Freud to get him off of opium.
Well, he was supposedly on cocaine.
Yeah, on cocaine, which was legal.
But I've got a complete collection of all of the Sherlock Holmes stories.
It's not in it,
and it's not in it
because it was written by Nicholas Meyer, who became a film director, who actually didn't direct.
No, but the whole idea of the cocaine thing goes way back. But I think there was a famous actor by the name of Gillette who portrayed Holmes on stage back in around the turn of the century, and he was extremely popular. And I think in those plays he embellished and had the thing about cocaine. But at the end of I think of Hound of the Baskerville. How do you say that 15 times? Hound of the Baskerville. Big dog on the moors. Yeah. Anyway, I think at the end of the movie, Basil Rathbone shouts out, Watson, the needle.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Which what was his name again? Nasal Bathrobe?
Nasal Bathrobe.
No, anyway, Basil, that's
and this is a leftover from my radio career when I was on WRGF.
That's right.
AM 14.
What is that, a keychain?
Yeah, it's a record. It's a little 40.
They didn't spare any expense.
You can play the record and it goes,
genuine plastic.
Help me! Help me! I'm trapped in a fly's body.
Wait a minute, let me see that thing. It looks like a real record. Did you ever try putting it on your turntable?
I did. And it sounds like Vincent Price in The Fly. Stay tuned for more rock and roll.
Sound like David Henderson.
Yeah.
AM
1450, America's home for solid gold rock and roll. And
what were the most requests you got? I mean, what songs did people want to hear the most when you were there? The request lines are open with.
There was one
rapid fire.
There was one character. There was one character that always called in and wanted to hear Cinnamon Cinder.
Cinnamon Cinder.
I want to hear Cinnamon Cinder. Cinnamon Cinder.
Gosh.
He used to call in this other guy, Cully.
Yeah.
He was one of the DJs, and it was this guy was always bothering him for Cinnamon Cinder. But no, I got a few requests and things like that. Usually I got just calls.
Yeah.
And you would get some girls.
Lonely women.
Yeah, and there was this nice black lady. I think she was black. She'd say, "How you doing?"
Yeah.
"How you doing?" And I'd talk with her. And there was these other people.
We were real womanizers in the radio.
That's right. You have nothing but a mouth.
Yeah.
And, there's a microphone between you and them. But, it's fun.
I don't know why, because we're just on the radio. There's nothing otherwise appealing about me.
It's fantasy.
Just talking on the radio.
It's fantasy. You're a voice. You're on the air.
Charming. I mean, but, I remember, I remember there was this one guy that used to always want the same song every night, Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. And I actually got so fed up with this guy.
Into burning ring of fire.
Yeah, I got so fed up with this guy. You know what I finally said? The tuba version.
Never did get a request for that. But
and
little known version.
But he always wanted Ring of Fire. And I finally said to him, "Listen, you have a tape recorder?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I'm going to play it for you one last time. Tape it. And every time you want to hear the song, just play the tape. I don't even mention your name. I'll say, this is, my name." Yeah. What was my name in those days? Colin Morrow.
There was a guy named...
This is Colin Morrow with a special request for my friend. And it mentions whatever. I can't even remember his name. And then I said, "Ring of Fire." And then
there was a guy
didn't bother me anymore.
There was a guy named Blackjack who I actually knew him. He would be at the flea market and everything, and he had these real thick glasses. He says, "Hey, play some Elvis. Play some Elvis."
Yeah.
And I'd play some Elvis. But he just wanted Elvis.
Which is
okay. But Elvis he was a big Elvis fan.
You can't go wrong playing Elvis or Johnny Cash or any of these really, really good stuff on the radio. But you know what was really weird? A lot of times I would get, like, romantic requests. Woo! And they would say stuff like, "Can you play a love song for my wife?" And they'll mention the wife. Or I'll mention the wife's name and mention the song, and I remember once a guy said, "I want to. It's not only my wife and I's 25th wedding anniversary. It's also her mother's 70th birthday." I said, "Well, that's a great idea. I'm going to mention it on the air. Is there a song you want to hear to acknowledge this?" And you won't believe what he said. He goes, "Do you have Kojak singing 'Try to Remember the Kind of September'?" I actually had to turn the phone off and say, "You won't believe this guy wants to hear Kojak sing." So
who loves you, baby?
We didn't even have that album, so I actually said, "I don't think we have this album. Is there anything else you want to hear?" And they said, "You have like Frank Sinatra singing 'Stranger Than I.'" I said, "Yeah, we could play that, sure," which we did. But Kojak singing, "Try to remember that droning on."
Ja doobie 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 da. Frank actually did that one time. He hit a flat note on purpose.
That's right.
And he was like, doobie doobie da. Which he's telling everybody, I'm sick and tired of doing this song. He liked classical music. He was into classical music.
Oh, yeah.
Opera and all that.
He sang, one of the last things he ever did was with Pavarotti. Yeah.
Right. Well, you're the guy that killed him.
Right.
You took it.
I didn't kill him. I was just there. I was there at the beginning, at the end.
He took the picture of Frank getting sick and being hauled out of the theater.
Fainting on the stage in 1991, I think it was, at the Richmond Moss, now the Altria Theater, and they actually had to close down that theater to fix it because the air conditioning, people were just like burning up on stage. Now it's fine if you're a performer and you can handle it, but this was almost like an 80-year-old man trying to sing his heart out, and he just couldn't take it anymore.
So the moss killed him.
The moss killed him, and I was there.
You took his picture.
And I took his picture. And
they paid him nicely for it.
They paid me at the National Choir. It's actually on the AP and UP. It's on, you can find it now.
It's kind of blurry, I think.
Well, it's blurry because it's because he's falling. But I don't really own that picture anymore. But I got paid initially a lot of money, paid my rent.
Do you have a copy of it?
I got the negative of it. No, they never got the negative. You never give the negative. I mean, negative. That kind of tells you how long ago it was. If it were done today, everyone would have digital. Everyone would have digital cameras, and everyone would have photographed.
What did you send them?
I sent them. I sent them a black and white photostat of it, and then they said, if you're going to pay me, I will send you a fine color print of it. And then I got a Fox photo. They used to do it in an hour in those days. So and they actually said, "Hey, I saw those pictures of Frank Sinatra. Did you get a picture of him falling?" I said, "No, I didn't. Give me the damn pictures."
That's why they look so crappy.
Let me tell you what happened. It's kind of wild what happened. I knew Peter and the
Wolf.
Yeah. So what happened was I had the picture, and what I knew I had something in there. It was on film. I didn't know how it turned out. So I went to Fox Photo the next morning, like 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. Got it. The whole point was I wanted to go to the hospital to meet Frank and give him the picture. But he was already gone. He was already back in, I think, Palm Springs. He didn't even let the doctors look at him.
He was in another dimension.
So anyway,
to stick it in.
This is gonna freak you out. What
like
happened?
The Twilight Zone episode. Here, Frank. Here, have the picture. I'll push it through the wall. Help, Frank. Here, it's for you, Frank. You can have it.
You could have it if I got to meet him. I would have loved to meet him, and I'd love to have gotten my picture taken with him.
I got a Frank story too.
But I'm not finished. Frank. Okay. Listen to this. What happened was so then I found out that I had a friend of Frank Sinatra. His name was Enrico Banducci, and he used to run the Hungry Eye in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, I know him.
You know who he is.
Buy hot dogs from him.
Yeah. So anyway, what happened? You know what I'm talking about. So he called Frank the next day, and he said, "What happened, Frank? Why did you faint?" And he said, "Because I was drunk off my ass. I had a good show on Saturday night. I saw the Sunday night show. He drank. That night at party, he had a hangover all day, and he was one of those old school guys that with hair of the dog. He kept drinking all day, and when he finally got on stage, he couldn't really put two words together, and then he fainted. So at that point, I said, let's make some money. Because if he's going to go out there drunk and try to, when everyone else
how soon after that did he die?
Well, he actually lived a while after that. He lived another 5 or 6 years after that. But he didn't perform a whole lot after that.
Not only
it was one of the last shows. So tell me your Frank story.
My Frank story is about my dad, who painted a necktie for Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
He was Frank Sinatra was the Grand Marshal of the
That's right.
of the tobacco parade back in the early 50s. And my dad was working at DuPont, but he was also nurturing a commercial art career, and he painted neckties for Tallheimers, and they would hang them up in the those big display windows, those famous display windows. They had a mannequin sitting there that was supposed to be my father. I got a photograph of it with his brush and all these neckties hanging there. And as a promotional thing or something, when Frank came to town, he was in the Tobacco Bowl parade. They had my dad do a painting of a necktie with a Lucky Strike package of cigarettes with smoke coming out of the package, which I guess it was a burning package. But the smoke came out of the package and it said LSMFT, which was the slogan was Lucky Strike means fine tobacco.
Yeah.
That was the slogan back then. So it said LSMFT, and there's a package of Lucky Strikes at the bottom, and it's on a tie like that.
Yeah.
And they gave it to Frank Sinatra, and there was a picture taken of him wearing it.
Oh, right.
And I used to have it, and it was in one of those supplement magazines of the newspaper.
Yeah.
And I can't find it, but
you'll find it.
It's
somewhere.
They probably got a archive copy somewhere, but anyway.
Yeah, the Tobacco Land
that was bad.
Parade,
Dad's big claim to fame.
Yeah, they used to have like I remember Rhoda Martin were at,
and Frank was a big collector. He kept all that stuff. I think he had a lot of trains. No, he had a huge train collection, as did we.
Yeah,
and I still got most of them. But Frank I always wondered if he still had that tie.
Yeah, I want it back, Frank.
Yeah.
Or Frank. Well, Frank Jr. is gone too. You'd have to ask Tina.
Maybe Frank can hand it to him from the other dimension through the wall. Here, Keith. Here, dooby doo. It's me. It's here. Here, have the tie. Here, I'll grab it, Frank. Come on. Witness, if you will, an out-of-the-way cartoonist with a friend who's got a fixation on Frank Sinatra. They're both reaching into the wall, trying to touch this aging singer cultural phenomenon.
Yes.
And so, whatever. But that was always a really cool Twilight Zone episode where the little girl went through the wall, you know.
Well, no, the TV set, I thought.
No. The little girl was under the bed. They heard her calling in the middle of the night, "Mommy, Daddy, help me. And they went into the bedroom. She's nowhere to be seen, but they can hear her voice.
That's a great.
And they keep trying to find out what happened to her, and they keep knocking on the wall. She's in here. They figured out, the scientist came over.
Yes.
They had a scientist next door. Anyway, somehow she slipped into another dimension.
Yeah.
And here, help me, Daddy. And finally, he goes in there. The dog runs in. He starts barking down. Now the dog's in there, and the father, decides to go in there, but he holds on to the other guy outside the wall.
Yeah.
And then you go in there, and it's all out of focus and weird and all that. It's really...
It's one of the better ones.
It's really well done. You might think it's a little hokey, but it's not. It's a great show, and even to this day, it gives you the willies, but as a kid, you know...
Yeah.
Ooh, I can't sleep near the wall anymore.
You know that I misspoke, actually. I said, I thought it was a television set, that the movie Poltergeist is a homage to that episode.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a television set. But
yeah,
you're right, it was a wall in the original Twilight Zone. Yeah. And
Mommy!
That was good, too.
Yeah, that was Spielberg.
Yeah, Spielberg. Toby Hooper. Yeah.
Shirley MacLaine told Steven Spielberg, "You're going to get some bad karma from making that episode. You're going to pay for that." Yeah. Because she was
worked out well for
making.
Spielberg.
Well, according to her, she was speaking ill of the spirit world, turning them into ravenous beasts and dangerous things like that, which has been done in a lot of horror movies.
She's written books about being possessed by demons and. She's written books. I mean, I don't really know what books. I mean, she laughs along with people, but she talks about being reincarnated a lot and stuff.
Yeah, I'm totally into that, and I was getting into that before she came on the scene with Out on a Limb, and then at that time I was, hey, this is great. I was buying a few extra copies and then giving them to friends.
Yeah.
But Shirley.
You don't hear so much about her anymore.
Well, she's pretty old now, but she's around.
You see her in a movie every once in a while. And she still looks good.
Yeah.
She's in her 80s.
Yeah.
But at the time,
I sent her a copy of my book.
Oh, right.
Because I put her in it. I kind of put a mention of her and Warren in it. Yeah.
Richmond Girl.
And it's got reincarnation in my book.
Yeah.
But which, by the way, keep talking. Yeah, I should plug my book more often. This is my book.
My favorite book.
Ezekiel saw a wheel, and
because I'm mentioned like 5 times in that book.
Oh, he's a character.
That's why I like. That's my favorite book.
He's a supporting character.
That's me on the cover there.
And no, that's the main character based on me when I was a kid.
That's what you look like.
I actually had a vision, a really weird vision when I was a kid. That looked exactly like this. So there was giant planets up in the sky, and I had a real memory of it. It was like more so than a dream, and I carried it around with me since I was a kid. And finally, in recent years, I said, I got to get this thing out of my head. I'm going to paint a picture of it. Why not? It's a good surreal thing. And then I got the idea to write the book.
Yeah,
I put it in the book.
So, you have a knack, Keith, for when you think of something, you could put in a book or you could paint a picture, and there you actually have a physical manifestation of what everyone thinks is just ethereal out in the.
Well, the weird thing is, I won't go into all the plot, but that strange event of a moon.
Yeah.
There's a blood red moon and a Saturn-like planet hanging up there in the sky, very close to the Earth.
Yeah.
I was really freaked out. It was some months after I had published the book.
Yeah.
I found a thing on the internet where that can actually occur.
Oh yeah.
It's called a rogue planet. There are planets that lose their orbit and start roving through the universe, and then they get hooked up with other planets, and it can be pulled in by the gravitational pull really close, and that can throw the moon really off, and the moon will get really close and finally crash into the planet, and then everything blows up.
Yeah, is there any chance that worlds collide like in the movie?
Yeah. The picture that I found on the internet was exactly like this. It was a Saturn-like planet over here, and then there was a moon really close to the Earth, which was here. There was no kid there. That was the, but it was a picture almost exactly like that.
In fact, a meteor killed the
dinosaur. I had some kind of a vision.
Yeah.
There's nothing. We are connected to everything, and there's so much we don't understand.
Barely know anything.
Yeah. What does Shakespeare say? There's and there's more worlds that are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Yeah.
And what is the thing? It's from Hamlet.
Oh, I don't.
It's really good.
Yeah. That's a 4-hour play. I can't
no,
remember.
There are more things in heaven and earth that are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Oh. Okay.
Horatio.
Horatio said
that's the other end of this. Yeah, you're supposed to add Horatio. Yeah. He's talking to Horatio. And they're in a grave. They're digging up skulls. I think it's the skulls.
York.
I think it's the York. I think it's in the York scene. Yeah. York
that's a great scene. Yeah. I saw a movie of Hamlet with Kenneth Branagh, and you know who does the York scene was Billy Crystal, as an actor. I mean, a lot of weird actors are in that movie.
I like to see. I've seen.
It's 4 hours long. I know that Robin Williams is in it, and another part.
I've never seen
Gerard Depardieu is in it.
I've seen the one with who's the famous
Mel Gibson.
No, from the 40s, the great.
John Barrymore.
No. The great
Laurence Olivier.
Laurence Olivier.
That's the best
Olivier, my friend. To be or not to be, whether it is nobler to fight the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to thereby end them. There's the route. But it was, and here he was. Yes, I always want to do Ronald Colman. The guy with the skull. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest who has borne me on his back, I know not how oft. And there he was.
There you go.
But
I remember the Laurence Olivier. My favorite line of his is it safe? Is it safe? That's a marathon man. plays the commandant too. The dentistry.
I never quite figured out what he meant by it.
They never make it. I mean, that was the whole point.
It's safe for him to come out, I guess.
Yeah, the guy, I think the Dustin Hoffman character does not know. There's nothing worse than being tortured and not knowing, not giving the people what they want because they'll just keep going and going until they think they're going to get an answer.
Yeah.
There's a. In fact, you mentioned Shakespeare. There's a scene in King Lear where the guy gets his eyes gouged out.
I'm the king and I'm leering at you.
He gets his, and he does not know where I think King Lear is, so they torture him to the point where they gouge his eyes out, and he still does not know. I'm not kidding you. Every time I see King Lear, I cringe at the scene because not only that, I always think, well, maybe this is the episode where King Lear doesn't.
Don't tell me, I haven't seen it yet. I've got a copy of the book, but I haven't read it yet all the way.
Where's that? You can see this King Lear is. There's actually an Olivier version of King Lear you can see.
Really?
With the same guy getting his eyes gouged out.
Seems to me King Lear is something they talk about a lot, but you never see it that often.
It's very sad. It's probably the greatest tragedy that Shakespeare wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What an old king and his daughters.
I saw a version of Hamlet with Mel Gibson, the Becca Zeffirelli, the movie. And what was kind of neat about the whole movie was it presumes that Hamlet's uncle did not kill the father, and it's all in his head, like he imagined it all. And it actually makes a lot of sense that maybe the brother is fine. But he did marry his mother though a month later, which is kind of weird. But anyway, he gets so engulfed.
Hello,
Hamlet gets
uncle.
so engulfed.
Hello, uncle. I mean, daddy, uncle. Mumsy has mumsy, uncle. Yes. Are you getting a bit of rumpy-pumpy in the bed? Yes.
That's what Queen Victoria used to call sex, I think.
Rumpy-pumpy?
Yeah, and somebody was...
They
They were like criticizing her, one of her advisors saying, you really are getting pregnant too often, you know. You should abstain, you know. What do you mean? Does that mean there's no more rumpy-pumpy?
Now, people talk about Queen Victoria as being the old lady, but she. I think I mentioned recently that
Elizabeth
been there longer than she has. Yeah,
my entire life. She came in right before I was born.
Yeah, so we don't know anyone else. Now, speaking of Shakespeare, what is
Queen? It is the Queen. Yes.
What is your favorite Shakespeare plays? What do you like?
I like the comedies.
Yeah.
I mean, I like all of them, but he was a great comedy writer. As You Like It, and
he once performed a.
What was the one? It's all a bunch of mixed up things.
Midsummer Night's Dream.
Well, that's good too.
Yeah,
that's a fantasy. But no, it was As You Like It, and then there's the other.
All's Well That Ends Well.
No, it's like a totally mixed up.
There's one really crazy one where the
the
Comedy of Errors.
Yeah,
where there's the twins.
That's it.
And it's like a real comedy farce where they're slamming doors and guys are walking in.
And it's good.
I thought I saw you come in. They said, "What are you?"
And no matter what you do with it and how many years you do it after it was written, it's still really funny.
Yeah.
And I think Kenneth Branagh did one of those.
Yeah.
They did it where they
Comedy
did it.
of Errors, yeah.
And might have been anyway. It took place at a villa.
Yeah.
And he plays like some duke coming back from the war, and they arrive at the villa, and there's all the girls, and they're going to have a big picnic, and they're all running through the yard and through the park and down amongst the things, and things are coming and going, and it's a really good movie.
That's Much Ado About Nothing. Is that what you're thinking of?
That's the title.
Yeah, that's Much Ado About Nothing.
Much Ado About Nothing. That's
Keanu
my
Reeves
favorite.
in that movie.
That's my favorite.
That's the villain.
I guess if you ask me my favorite,
but that's they're all great.
Yeah,
they're all great.
And I like Macbeth. I like that Scottish play.
Macbeth.
Woods coming. Oh, you said it. You're not supposed to.
I'm not self-justicious.
Yes. You're not self-justicious?
I'm not super duper stitious either.
It's all right. It's already cursed.
It's already. I can't even. I can't enunciate anymore.
His speech be accursed. He cannot. His tongue cannot roundulate in his esophagus and form the language anymore. He is accursed. The tongue cannot come beyond the teeth. The teeth stick out so far. You say, yes.
The tongue is forked.
Forked.
You know. It's funny you mentioned that. That sometimes Shakespeare is the type that you can't.
Shakespeare.
You have to have a heart.
He couldn't spell.
That's right.
My name is Shakespeare, and I don't care who knows it.
That somebody pointed out to me that I can't wrap my head around this. It's just too much words, too much all the verbosity. And so somebody told me that said, don't really pay attention to everything in Shakespeare. Just sit down and let it wash over you.
You'll get there.
In fact, somebody said that for example, if a guy in a typical play, a guy would say, "I'm going to walk to the other side of the stage," while Shakespeare would say, "I let my ankles take limbs and wings, and I will flutter to the end of the proscenium."
Yes.
I mean, basically every line sounds like that in Shakespeare.
Flutter he did. And
so yeah, Much Ado About Nothing is great, and
he went over there.
There's one I mentioned earlier, the Comedy of Errors, and I actually said to my acting teacher,
I never get a chance to say what I want to say because by the time he finishes what he's going to say, I forget what I was going to say. You see, that's what happens. And I want to grab him and strangle him. Anyway.
Actually, I'm always yammering.
Yammer.
My dad complained last week. He said, you usually talk on the phone for 2 hours. How come you only talk for 20 minutes? I said, it was the wrong number.
Yeah, Dave Holt was right. You talk too much. But he's always got something to say. You fill up airtime that way.
Yeah.
But
I used to be on a show where I never got to talk. So now I'm talking. I'm making up for lost time.
I had to record the sound and then draw pictures to every syllable.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, how are you doing? Let's put the mouth there. Let's draw the nose here.
Yeah.
And now you talk about frustrating.
Yeah.
No, but that's actually fascinating. But when you're doing it to sell chest of Cheetos or sell junk food that later tries to kill you when you become diabetic from it, then you... But I'm proud.
You should have been around during cigarette ads. You would have been the king of Madison Avenue.
I probably was.
Lucky Strike.
I probably was. I probably was a reincarnation of an old Disney guy.
Yeah.
Because when I went to Disney Studios, I found a shortcut that I wasn't supposed to know about. We were going. How do we get to the animation building? I said, "Oh, let's go through that path over there," and I did, and there we were. How did I know?
Wow.
Reincarnation is real.
And they didn't know it.
And people got to stop worrying. Well, you're going to worry about death, let's face it. But don't worry about it too much because you go to another place, you know. And you're going to have other lives. And you're going to have lives in the afterlife. And then at some point, you'll come back to this life if you really are stupid enough. I mean, if you want to do it. Well, you come here, they say it's a schoolhouse. And I like to use the analogy of surfers on a beach. Like you're out in L.A. and the surfers are hanging out. Okay, I'm going to catch a wave, man. You watch me, man. And I go out there and go paddle, paddle, paddle. Oh, catch a wave, catch a wave. Oh, wow. Wipe out! Oh, man. I'm going to come to later on. You go, I'm going to do it again, man. I'm going to do it again. I'm going out there, going to catch a wave. I'm going to get on top of it. Oh, man, it's perfect. I can't believe it. This is great. And he floats all the way in to the beach and just steps off. This is the analogy of reincarnation in life. The beach is heaven.
Yes.
Where everybody kind of lays around. They talk about what a ride they had, and they went out there. And out there is the ocean, the waves. You don't know what's coming. It hits you. Things hit you. It's a total free-for-all in... What's the word? It's just coming at you by surprise all the time. Spontaneous. And no matter how well you do, you may put your best effort into it. Something will whack you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know? Why did that happen? Anyway, all this stuff happens, but by the time you get to the beach, you've learned a thing or two, or you rest up and you're talking about it, and finally you've rested up enough. You want to try it again.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what it's sort of like, karma and all that.
Yeah.
And you go out there and you give it another try, and this thing called life is like kind of like surfing.
Yeah. Do you surf in real life?
Yeah, not really, but I did a.
It looks so dangerous.
Just
like what you're saying.
Let me tell you, I didn't really surf, but I boogie boarded.
Oh, boogie board. Okay.
Boogie board.
That's a good
and I could do that, and I'm pretty good in the surf. I body surf, and I'm a good swimmer.
Yeah.
But I almost got eaten by a great white shark.
Oh, man.
It was really weird.
Punch it in the nose.
Now here's another. I've been protected by, let's call them guardian angels. Things that don't make sense, but they protect you. I'll tell you. Since I'm on this kick, I'll tell you these two stories. All right, I was on this boogie board.
Yeah.
And that day, I'm usually really good in the surf. So it was down at Nag's Head, and I usually have no trouble in water like that. I just ride it in, or I dive into the wave and all that. But for some reason, I was on this boogie board, and these little waves, like about that big, kept slapping me in the face.
Ooh, yeah.
It was like
don't do that.
Yeah, it was like a bad director on a stage. What are you doing? That? Stop doing that! It's like a Three Stooges director. Hey, and the water was doing that to me. I was on this thing, and it was, what's going on here? And finally, it did it so much that I just got. Hell with it, I'm just going to go in and sit on the beach for a while. I'm going to rest. So I came in there, and my Uncle Harold, who's from Kingston, New York, and he had this really laid-back, how you doing there? Let's go get a watermelon kind of voice, and from upstate New York. Anyway, he was sitting there.
Good imitation of it.
Yeah, don't need my coffee. Anyway, I can do him perfectly, but in my throat. Anyway, he was sitting there in his lawn chair. Yeah, well. And I went over to Uncle Harold after being slapped around. How you doing, Uncle Harold? Yeah, well, there's a shark out there. What, Uncle Harold? What? Yeah, there's a shark. He's always so laid back. No matter what he's talking about, he's real laid back. And I looked out there, and there was this gigantic 20-foot thing, gray thing with the. Wow. It was a dorsal fin. I'm sure it was a great. I studied my anatomy.
I don't know anyone who's ever seen a shark like that in the wild. Yeah.
And this was right off the shore, and it was like a dorsal fin followed by the
body.
The other fin, the tail fin that sticks up. Oh, I can't do these things. Okay. All right. All right, kind of like that. Not that. Anyway, there was a dorsal fin, and then further behind it, there was the tail fin that slants, going along like that. Yeah. And it was huge. It was like 20 feet.
Yeah.
And I could see him just going along the beach. And there was a lot of fish out there that day. A lot of people catching little fish. And there were some guys, some surfers, right in front of that shark.
Yeah.
And I thought it's my duty to warn. Hey! So I said, hey, there's a shark out there. Hey, there's a shark. And they say, it's a stingray. Yeah. They wouldn't believe me. And I know it wasn't no stingray. Yeah. I know what a stingray looks like. It's like that. This was a shark. And it was a big one. Big gray one. And it had to be a gray white.
Yeah.
From the size of it and the grayness of it and the shape.
Yeah.
And I was right out there in that thing.
Yeah.
And something had kept slapping me.
What was that? Was it the shark that was slapping you?
No, the water.
Oh,
it was just little wavelets, little bitty waves like that kept going kaploop.
But the shark had something to do with it.
No, I'm telling you, it was a guardian angel.
Oh, I see.
I'll tell you another story where that happened. All right, I was up in Kennedy Airport in a snowstorm coming home from Canada, and we had a overlay. We were late. Everybody had to sleep on the floor. Yeah. There was no place to sleep.
I hate that.
Yeah. And so I found trying to get comfortable, and I found one of these coffee tables made of rock or made of concrete and marble, big giant coffee table, and a chair, and which I used as a pillow for some reason. Anyway, I was down in between there, and I had my luggage under my head and all that.
Yeah, that's what you do.
And I was so sleepy.
Yeah.
And I put my feet up, so they were kind of up on that stone coffee table, and it caught me a few weeks.
Yeah.
Because I needed it bad.
Yeah.
Traveling from Montreal, I had to lay over and go on to Richmond.
I could sleep anywhere, just like you.
Yeah, and I had to do that. But something happened. I was sound asleep. I was just sound asleep, zonked out. And suddenly something made me open my eyes, and I went, and I was staring right into the face of a mugger who was up on that table lurching over me like he was going to grab my stuff. He was staring right, he was not more than a foot and a half away from me, staring into my eyes, and I must have freaked him out like I was bewitched. He must have thought I was bewitched, because he's like, I know you're there. And he took off. Yeah. He was freaked out. Yeah. But the truth is, I didn't know I was going to do that. Yeah. Something just made me, and I was staring straight directly into his eyes. This split second, my eyes opened. Yeah. And then he took off. Like, now someone, some guardian angel, some metaphysical being who was looking over me made that. You can't tell me that something wasn't looking over me and made that happen.
Glad to have you here.
Yeah.
Survived a shark and a mugger.
Yeah.
Now, where
and another time I almost took a rock in my eye when my dad was cutting grass.
Yeah.
And something froze my head. Yeah. He was out there cutting, always say, watch out for rocks.
I'm always worried.
Well, he was way across the yard, and I was a little kid, and I was just standing there, and suddenly something froze my head, and then a rock came up and hit me on the nose and fell off.
Oh, man.
But something held my head still.
Yeah.
And that rock hit my nose and not my eye. And dropped to the ground.
Oh, wow.
A lot of things like that.
How old were you then?
If you pay attention, things like that happen all through your life.
Yeah.
And I think those angels, or whatever they are, can slow down time or speed themselves up. Kind of like in Star Trek, where you're moving so fast, or they're moving so much faster than you are, that they can get in there and make little changes. Yeah. And you're kind of going in slow mo. I believe.
I was once in an emergency where sadly a girl got her finger caught in a door. Didn't happen that long ago, like 5 years ago. And I rushed her. I was like the guy who had
the finger.
No, she broke her finger, but she didn't. She didn't lose her finger. But what was kind of weird was I know what you're saying about. I said, what are we gonna do now? Where do I go? Do we call an ambulance? What do we do? Do we wait here? Do we try to fix the finger? And then I got her in my car and drove her to the hospital. And I said
the pinky thing.
No, the thing was and this is what was weird was I thought the whole thing lasted about 20 minutes. Yeah. I thought the whole thing lasted 20 minutes. It basically was less than 2 minutes, but time just stopped, and I had to, in my mind's eye, it was like an eternity. Each second was like 20 minutes, when actually it was only 2 minutes between getting her in the car and getting her to the hospital.
Yeah. Time is strange, and it does. Yeah. Now, another phenomenon like that happens when I'm drawing, when I'm working on a project. Yeah. And I can sit there and work all day and forget about eating and all this stuff. And the time it stretches out, but it doesn't seem like very long. And it felt good. And I didn't get hungry. And I was doing all this stuff because of the alpha state or whatever my brain waves were in. And which... You're channeling something when you do something good, creatively. It's kind of a partnership.
You're happy.
It's a partnership between you and the beyond, and things are being channeled in. And when you don't have that working for you, you can't draw worth being.
You have all the time in the world.
I'm known as a good artist, but I can't get it together today.
Yeah, strange how it's like everyone time is different for everybody. Like, for example, what seems like you're having a good time, you're working hard and everything. It's just the time just breezes by. But actually, if you're waiting in line at the DMV or something, it seems so much longer. How I think, and So yeah, that's quite a story about now. Where now? Again, I may have missed the first part. Where did the shark happen? Virginia Beach?
No, it was at Nag's Head or
Nag's Head.
or
Okay.
early Outer
Same
Banks.
ocean.
Outer Banks, yeah, Hatteras down there. And they do have a lot of sharks and stuff down there. And watch out, especially. I'm a little reluctant to get into ocean water now. After
Once
that.
you saw that,
I mean, I've been doing it all my life and I love it, but and I come from a long line of sea captains. That's another story. And one of them went down with a ship. But
wow. What, a war? Was it a war?
no, I come from
Battle?
6 generations of sea captains,
Yeah.
all named Oliver Russell,
All right.
going back to the 1600s.
Oh,
And
great.
it was a sailing ship. One of them was a sailing ship called La Tigre,
Yeah.
and the
The
Tiger.
tiger.
The
Yeah.
Tiger. And they were merchant
Marine.
Marines
Yeah.
at that point, and no war.
Yeah.
But they had to take the ship back to France or something. And they got a crew together, but it turned out the crew was made up of all captains.
Oh, wow.
That's a bad recipe.
No. Too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
And that's what